So this is a response video to a video by Nathaniel Drew with 787k subscribers. Um, his video is called "What I Learned Living with a Narcissist." He says there are some very manipulative people out there, and he wanted to share his experience living with one of those people. As he said, it's a difficult topic to discuss, and there is, it's uncomfortable if you've experienced any of this stuff. But there you go. So they can be narcissists. They can be people with other kind of mental health conditions like borderline personality disorder, cluster B personalities, um, and just handling these situations, which I've had to do a lot in my life, because my mother is undiagnosed, but I believe that she is borderline with a narcissistic personality as well. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments that people have said and how I managed to survive being brought up by someone like this. So, yeah, someone says, Florence Kwok said, imagine being raised by one. The psychological trauma still affects me to this day, and I'm 28. Well, I'm 30, 39 this year, and I'm still dealing with it because my mother's still alive. But so Alcius Ryden, narcissists are basically insecure little children that never grew up. Yeah, I can see that. Although, the more you go through life, the more you see that. But these people, it's very tricky if you haven't actually experienced it for yourself to really get to the heart of what it is. But another person says if you stand up to a narcissist, they'll attack you emotionally and psychologically. Leaving and not looking back is the only way. This person was raised by one, and they're 91 now, and it never changes. Well, yeah, my mum's 73, and she hasn't changed at all. Well, maybe I think she was possibly worse when she was younger, but yeah, it doesn't really change. And some get much worse with age. But so Seb Brown says that being a people pleaser, you'll continue to attract those types of people. You can be kind and still stand up for yourself. Yeah, when I was younger, I was very much a people pleaser, and I didn't. I attracted a lot of these kind of people, and I sort of went along with what they wanted, which was to my detriment. Um, Liam Killen says manipulative, demanding, never taking responsibility for their actions. If you comment on their bad behavior, they somehow spin it around on you. It's all about them. Absolutely. So if they show interest in you, it's because they think that it will benefit them in some way. You will, yeah, because quite often it's the same with my mother. It's more like what can you do for her that's of use? It's not like, I'm not saying she's terrible. I mean, she does things. She has done stuff for us as well. So I think, but people have different experiences, and I can relate to those. Um, Luann Thomas says speaking up to a narcissist is a waste of time. They'll refuse to listen to you and then make out you're the bad person for standing up for yourself. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that stuff. Um, so yeah, you could also experience jealousy from this. Um, but yeah, hate's a big thing. So they really like to hate people. Um, and I suppose I will give them the fact that I don't actually know what their childhood experience was that made them like this, but I know that I had not an easy time, and I don't behave in the same way as they do. So I don't understand it. I just really do not understand this. Um, this person dated four of them back to back. Uh, yeah, he had a trend of attracting those sorts of people. Um, Amy Landry, the only way to win with a narcissist is not to play. Sadly, that seems to be the case, because you can't have a conversation because you walk on eggshells. You can't actually say how you feel about something because you'll be you'll be belittled. You'll be brought down if you. There'll be something wrong with the opinion that you offer. Always, always. Um, Nicole Avery, people pleasing so toxic. We need boundaries to be healthy. Yep, very true. And I never really had any of those. Um, James Westhart gives a quote from Peter Tosh: "They don't love themselves, so they can't love anyone else." Yeah, that's been my experience. They can't really, they can't really do that. Um, Narcissists get inside your head and tear you down. Living with one was the worst experience in my life. I'm still trying to get over it a year later. Um, Until you have a recognizable experience with a narcissist, you have no idea how evil people can be. Um, it's powerful knowledge because it's one thing we all experience, but few can name it. So if you haven't had this, you probably are going to be a little bit. You're going to be struggling to follow this because you just won't understand it. Because to the outside world, everything looks a-okay, but it's just not. They don't want to listen, they only want to be heard. Yeah, that's absolutely true. From someone who's like an extreme narcissist like Donald Trump, or, or someone who's like my mother, they're exactly the same. They don't want to listen, and they kind of, there's no conversation. I mean, I'm doing a video, so it's just me talking at you all the time, but that's a bit different. You have the choice. In a conversation with a narcissist, they will just monologue you, and there won't be like, oh, what do you think about it? It won't be a standard conversation. It won't be a normal conversation. It will be very much monologued, and they just won't stop talking. They'll just go on and on and on about their stuff, and probably tell you stories. And they'll definitely tell you stories they've already told you. Um, so Jeremy Dunn, my ex-narc fiance, almost killed me emotionally and physically. She was a stealth. I felt 2 inches tall, beaten and spit on at the end. I was a prop to her. So yeah, Love Light, you are describing my life as a wife lately. So painful, I'm looking to move out. I'm asking the universe to open doors so that I have somewhere to go. Thank you for confirming what I've been dealing with. I feel empowered. Cardinal Feather 2. Grew up with a narcissist father. Caused me a lot of damage to my self-esteem and played mind games. I was completely oblivious to it until I was around 10. One example, he would tell both me and my sister he loved one of us more than the other, tell us both to keep a secret, stuff like that to make us feel special. He liked us more than the other sibling. She and I were constantly fighting for his love and attention. It caused a lot of tension between us. Only now do we know about this, because one day I was talking to her about how he used to say those things to me, and she goes, "What, really? He said that exact same thing to me." And he'd also use us to make him look better. He'd make us show off in front of his friends and such. It really, it really hurt, because it felt like he only cared about us so that he could use us to improve his image. Yeah, that's also true. So there's a lot of guilt there. I can definitely relate to that. They're always trying to guilt trip people about everything. Guilt, guilt, guilt all the way. And you can learn, Chris F says, you can learn something from everyone, even if it's how not to be. Omid Films, you're lucky it was only for 3 months. I have a narcissistic father and a submissive mother my whole life. After 30 plus years, I'm putting the pieces together. Yeah, so that's a very interesting one. I might have to look at some of the responses to Omid's one, because I knew a guy who was like that, who I suspect his father was, the narcissist guy, and his mum was kind of a submissive one, and I hope that he's able to put the pieces together for himself. Maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe he will. We'll see. So I met my Narc 4 years ago. The beginning of our relationship, I thought he was my soulmate, and it was just mirroring, manipulative technique. He isolated me from my friends, but most of all, he separated me from my family. And after the golden period, he started devaluing me more and more. And then, yeah, this lady Beatrice, she'd found videos about MPD. She studied all day and all night, and soon realized that she wasn't being crazy, that it was a real thing. The man with the dash cam. The unfortunate problem about dealing with a narc is it's not written on his or her forehead. It takes time and energy to understand what exactly is happening. Lego Valas. Before my narc relationship, I used to take pride in the fact that I was no quitter, and now I think I caused myself so much extra suffering because of this. Then I see the flip side in that if I'd quit in the early years, I never found the answers to what I was dealing with, so I guess it was worth something. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you have the insights that no one else will have. Like, people who haven't experienced this, they just won't know, so they'll be blind like I was. John Doe, the sad part is that he is an actual father. Imagine having to grow up with him as your father. That's why I really hope that these new dads can be improving themselves, but sadly I don't think they'll ever get any awareness. JC said they can really screw people up mentally, especially sensitive and open people. They can blindside an authentic person because treating others that way would never cross their mind, and it takes a long time to recover. Yeah, people, these types of people, they do abuse people. It's normal for them. It feels good. They do it because they like the way it makes them feel. So yeah, what else? Sai writes, sounds like the relationship I had with my father. Yeah, my father was he wasn't like that at all. I had a lovely father, thankfully, but most of the time he was at work. But he was great. Enigma, you can never negotiate with a narcissist. They believe they're above everyone else. Yeah, you can't actually, and you can never give your own opinion. So you've got to learn not to play the game. If you have a narcissistic parent, you just don't. You go and sort of avoiding the contact, and just there's not much you can do but put your head down until you can leave home. And yeah, there's quite a lot of comments here, but there are a few. I'm just scrolling down. There was one that was just absolutely awesome because it was the same. Okay, yeah, so at Kashmir, one of my parents is a narcissist. Growing up with one as a role model has been incredibly difficult. Yeah, I can definitely relate to this. It's been incredibly difficult. I've always been a fighter. If I see something that seems wrong or unjust, I'll say something about it. That never meshed with this parent, making my entire upbringing one big minefield. Yeah, because you can't ever give an opinion on anything. You can't say anything. You can't give your true opinion on anything at all. So they believed they were right. They manipulated me to do those things, regardless if I knew the consequences of those decisions. It laid the foundation for many other manipulative, damaging, and even abusive relationships throughout my life. With this being my third year in college, I've been able to create some space between me and this parent. So yeah, creating space is key. You'll notice that when you have your time alone, doing your own thing or going away, living elsewhere, you're going to be much better off. And then it helped you recognize how this pattern played out through the rest of my life. Some people work with a therapist, but I think you can just get a lot through watching videos and listening to people. And Yeah, Mrs. Tedrow says wild animals go to where the food's left out. And, okay, the best one here is basically what I think is the total key to this, which is Jonah W. says, in my experience, the only way to stay sane while being raised in one household with a narcissist is to bow down to all their whims and wants, always agree with them, never speak up, and just in general be submissive. The only way to maintain peace. Speaking out for yourself only fucks you up more. With a passive way, at least you can still try and hang on to the thought you may be right, you aren't crazy, this isn't normal, I'm not a complete dipshit, I have self-worth. Anytime you do defend yourself because you aren't able to hold back anymore, or defending someone else, they make you believe that you're the problem. Yeah, I mean, I had this where I pointed out to someone that they were trolling people online, and they really they couldn't handle my criticism of them, and they sort of started raging about it, when I was just basically just telling them that that isn't behavior that I appreciate. And so they will then think that you're the problem for pointing out that they have something you don't agree with. So to anyone dealing with this, and I do not wish this upon anybody, I feel for you, and just try with all your power to hold on to the thought that you aren't crazy. This is serious and you have an intrinsic value. This guy Jonah is 19 years old, and he hasn't given up that these types of people can change, but he's starting to accept that he cannot continue to wish for something that will never become a reality. I still tear up around seemingly functional families, but I've learned to find love and appreciation elsewhere than in parental approval. So I'm exactly the same. My father died 6 years ago, but I don't look to my mother for approval about anything that I'm doing or anything of that nature. It's just not ever gonna get what you want. So look for a partner or a friend or someone, if you have friends, that is. But yeah, look, also the most important thing is to, they call it self-love, but really, yeah, self-love, self-respect, because you don't want to have to rely on that from other people. And that's something that these kind of people will never understand, because they're getting their self-worth from other people, because they can't generate it inside themselves. And on our current knowledge, we are not able to do anything to improve these people. So yeah, I just thought that was useful. And if you're in this kind of situation, that you can get some hope from this, that I've survived. I'm 39 this year, and it isn't easy. It really is not easy, but you do keep going. It's kind of like a very, very long haul endurance slog, but you find ways of dealing with it, and YouTube has been terrific. It's been just an amazing resource, and hope you like this one. If you do like this content, please do subscribe to my channel, please like, share, and tell me your thoughts. Have you had to survive in that kind of scenario? And do you have any extra hints, tips, or thoughts on that kind of thing? Let me know. Alright then. See you in the next one. Ciao.